Hello, and welcome to our webinar today, 40 Marketing Ideas You Can Do in 5 Minutes or Less, which will be hosted by my business partner, Terry Wheeler. Just briefly, we want to mention that a few housekeeping notes. Remember at the end of our webinars that we often offer quite a few tools and free resources, and we also ask for your feedback through a survey that we keep available if you stay on the webinar at the end of the presentation for just a few minutes. And today there's going to be quite a few resources, so I want to encourage you at the end to make sure that you stay on for just a few minutes to request those resources. We're also happy to see that quite a few of our clients are on the call today. We're glad to see that because we have been getting lots of requests for items that they can do or activities they can do in short periods of time. And so today I'm pleased to introduce my business partner, Terry. So as you know, Terry has been an in-house marketing firm director for over 12 years. I'm sure many of you have heard this before, but I want to just reiterate that Terry's experience is quite extreme in terms of leading marketing and strategic marketing efforts. She started our firm over 18 years ago and is currently also the executive committee and board member of the Professional Lawyers Board of Professional Responsibility. She's currently also a faculty member at 3 different law schools and has her master's degree in business from St. Thomas. One of the things that Terry has done most recently is also be a syndicated columnist for the Attorney at Law and is getting quite a reputation for her content development in that area. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass things over to Terry and let her take it away.
All right, Christy. Well, thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us today. Very happy to have you on the webinar. We are recording the webinar, so if any of your friends or colleagues are unable to be here, we will make it available on our website under the website archive section on the PSM website. So because we've got a lot to cover today, I'm just going to give you a brief tour of what you have to look forward to. We're going to talk briefly about why professionals procrastinate marketing, because that's the biggest reason that we need to come up with quick, easy things that you can do in 5 minutes or less, because I believe that professionals feel like they have to have this huge block of time to allocate to marketing, or they may as well not do it. It's kind of like how I am sometimes with exercise, but that's a whole other story. We're going to talk about, believe it or not, in this 45-minute period of time, we're going to talk about 40 marketing strategies that you can do in 5 minutes or less. And we also have a dashboard. You see your dashboard that's available to you to ask questions. And we're going to set this up so that Christy can answer some quick questions if you have them. Otherwise, if they pertain to what we're discussing, I will answer those questions at the end of the presentation. So let's move right into why professionals tend to procrastinate marketing. Now remember, a lot of this comes from the coaching and consulting work that I've done with lawyers and financial advisors throughout my career. But there are some things that are common themes in terms of why professionals procrastinate. The first one is, I really didn't learn this stuff in school, and I hear this particularly from my clients who are attorneys, and it's very true. They don't teach marketing and business development in law school. So lawyers come out of law school, they jump into a practice either on their own or with a firm, and then all of a sudden they're being pressured to turn into partners and have this large book of business, but they didn't necessarily learn marketing in law school. So that's a good reason that they will procrastinate it and not do it. There's also a belief that I call the field of dreams belief, and that is, if I build it, they will come. If I do good work for clients, they will find me. And I think 20 years ago, maybe that was the case because you would develop a reputation in a market that was a lot smaller. But right now, doing good work for clients is not quite enough. And yes, you all get the vast majority of your work from referrals, but there have to be other things that you're doing proactively on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you're keeping your name out there so that when clients have a need, they will find you. And then my favorite one is I'm too busy. Who is not busy? And it's funny how people find things to do that take a lot of their time and they feel comfortable doing those things. So maybe it's serving your clients, for example. I say that tongue in cheek, because that's what I hear from a lot of professionals. I'm too busy, I've got too much client work. But I do want to remind you that if you wait until you have quote unquote time to market, it's really going to be too late. Now, I'm not trying to use a scare tactic, but I am sort of, because it's the process of building and nurturing relationships over time, not waiting for that magical 5-hour block of time on a Friday afternoon where you say, hey, I can do marketing now. It's something that, and I've said this in the past, I want you to weave the concepts of marketing through the fabric of your practice. I want this to be something that you think about and do something every day to further the growth of your practice. There's a great book out there called Eat That Frog, and it's all about how to overcome procrastination. So I encourage you, if that's something that you struggle with, to pick up the book at Barnes & Noble or on Amazon and read it. And don't put it off, right? Okay, now let's jump into the marketing ideas. Now, I want to reiterate what Christy said. I have a number of handouts that I will make available to people who request them, and you're going to have two ways of requesting the handouts. As Christy mentioned, if you stay on the call, you'll be directed to the evaluation. However, there will also be an opportunity for you to access the evaluation in the follow-up email that we do. So there's a really good tool that I want you all to request, and that is the tool that gives you the 40 ideas all on 2 pieces of paper that you can keep on your desktop in front of you. So I just want to start running through some of the things that you can do when you take a look and say, gosh, I'm waiting for a document to print. I have a few minutes. What should I do? Well, here are some of the things that you can do. First off, phone a friend. Think of someone, a client or a referral source that you haven't spoken with recently, and just pick up the phone and say hello, touch base, see how they're doing. Maybe pick a time for coffee or lunch. Just something out of the blue, hey, I was thinking of you, and I picked up the phone and I called you. The second thing you can do is learn your strengths. Christy and I spend a lot of time with our clients talking about the Gallup organization's StrengthsFinder tool. There is a link to a $9.95 version of the StrengthsFinder, and you can access that also through our website so that you can learn and understand your top 5 inherent strengths, what you bring to the party with every single client you work with and every referral source you build relationships with. And it's knowing yourself helps you better know and understand others. So take that time to search out the Gallup organization's StrengthsFinder, and if you pay more, you can get all 34 of your strengths, which Christy and I, of course, have done because we dig this stuff and we really want to delve into it at a higher level. Something else you can do in 5 minutes. Find a link to an article that you find interesting and post it on LinkedIn with a message about why you think it is interesting. So you're reading through your email, or you click on the Huffington Post and you see something that would be of interest to clients. It's very, very simple. In fact, one of the things that we're going to offer you, because believe it or not, there are people who don't really feel comfortable making posts. So there's a handout that we have on how to make a post on LinkedIn. So it will walk you through step by step, but that's certainly something you can do in 5 minutes. Another thing you can do is you can create an email introduction. Now, what this is a 1-paragraph introduction of yourself that you can send to somebody on LinkedIn who might be willing to make an introduction of you to someone that you want to meet. So in other words, you're looking for a client type that you would like to do more work with. You can use the advanced search feature on LinkedIn to identify people that meet the criteria that you have, but most importantly, that will tell you who in your primary network knows that person. There's also a handout for how to create an email introduction if that's of interest to you. And hopefully it is of interest to you because it's a great way to tap into that soft network you have. And if someone you respect suggests that someone they respect should meet you, there will be a meeting that happens. Okay, sending an article. If you're reading a business or trade journal or the newspaper for that matter, and you find something that you think someone would appreciate, clients love the high touch. Your referral sources love the high touch. You're a busy professional. If you find something that would be of interest maybe to 3 people, take the time, take that 5 minutes to send the link and say, came across this, thought you'd really find it of interest. I hope you're doing well. Maybe we can have coffee this summer. Whatever you're doing, you're maintaining that thread through the fabric of your practice that's all about staying in touch with people. Let's look at some other things that you can do. Association involvement. Now, obviously, that's a big category, and you're not going to be able to fully participate in an association in 5 minutes. But what you can do is you can consider one trade or professional association that you're in right now that you haven't been real active in because you've been too busy, and you can go to their website. You can find out when there's a meeting coming up that looks interesting to you, and you can schedule that meeting on your calendar. But most importantly, then you want to attend that meeting. Asking a referral source to coffee. So you make a list of your top 5 referral sources. This doesn't take long. You know who they are, but reach out to those individuals, and you can do it via email, via telephone. It doesn't matter how you reach out to them. I have more and more clients, and I'm sure Christy does too, who actually text us. So that's kind of a cool thing. So however you connect with people, take that 5 minutes, think about who refers you business, and then reach out to them and suggest that you get together. Christy and I, as you know, are also zealous advocates for the concept of developing your sales pipeline. So take that 5 minutes. Hopefully your sales pipeline is not something that you did as an exercise because you were working with us and we asked you to do it and now it's buried in a drawer somewhere. Your sales pipeline should be something that you refer to on a daily basis because the whole goal is to identify your top current clients, prospective clients, and referral sources, and to almost come up with a forecasting model of what do I expect I'm going to generate in revenue from these individuals that I'm building relationships with. But even beyond that, what are my next steps with them? When did I speak with them last, and when do I need to follow up? So spend 5 minutes taking a look at that sales pipeline, and then take some action to move one of those relationships forward. One of the things, and we've offered this before, but I'm also offering you the templated sales pipeline. It's an Excel document, and it actually calculates totals and everything for you. So we're happy to send you the sales pipeline tool that's been revised for 2015. If you're interested, just request that at the end of the presentation. Another thing you can do if you have 5 minutes is you can make a referral. Now, this is as simple as thinking about 2 really great people that you know who should meet. And when I get those emails, I love those emails because it's someone who I already know. Let's say it's someone like our friend Don McNeil who says, gosh, Terry, you really need to meet this person. And he copies the other person and talks about why we need to meet one another. It takes him less than 5 minutes, but who knows, it might produce an opportunity for us to work with that individual or vice versa. So it's always good to think of 2 people that you like and trust and respect and just introduce them. And it doesn't have to be specifically within your area of expertise. You can say, I know that, I have this great lawn care person and, Terry, I know you've been looking for someone, so I'm making this referral to you. It doesn't have to just be in your area of practice. So think about that as well. Another thing, engage with your contacts on LinkedIn. Go to your LinkedIn homepage and scroll down the list of posts and take a look at the activities that your contacts have posted. And I will tell you that sometimes some of these 5-minute activities can turn into 8 or 10 minutes. But it's your choice. When you're engaging with people that you're connected with on LinkedIn, there are myriad things you can do. First of all, LinkedIn makes it easy for you to see, gosh, I know this person and I'm not connected to them. And it will say, do you want to connect with this person? And if you do, maybe you take your 5 minutes and you send them a LinkedIn request. And you say, I'm glad to see you on LinkedIn. Let's connect our profiles and hopefully see each other in the future. So there are many different ways in which you can engage on LinkedIn. Probably one of the easiest is just to go to your homepage and scroll down the news feed, for lack of a better term. I know that's what we call it on Facebook, but scroll down that news feed to see what people are doing. If you see someone has gotten a promotion, then tell them, say congratulations. It takes 10 seconds to do that. And if you scroll down, that's why LinkedIn can be kind of a random thing, which is why for our clients, we always propose that we post on their behalf on a daily basis because people aren't seeing LinkedIn all the time. But but go down that news feed and try to engage with people and congratulate them. And, you know, it automatically tells you who's celebrating a work anniversary, or someone might post something really interesting like you're doing with your articles that you're posting on LinkedIn. Take a quick look at that and tell them what a great article that was and engage with them, because that builds your name recognition as well, because then your comment appears on your newsfeed. So think about engaging with more people on LinkedIn. Okay, so here's some other things that you can do. We all know how important it is to have an elevator speech. You know from our past webinars that your elevator speech is designed to communicate the value you bring to your clients, not just the facts of who you are and what you do. And it's all about how do you convey the value. Now, I've had marketing training sessions with a number of my clients in groups, and it's easier said than done to practice your elevator speech, to make it come off so that it doesn't sound canned. And then the second challenge with practicing your elevator speech is practice meeting different types of people. Your elevator speech is not going to just be the same for every single person. So if you have an upcoming event, you look at your calendar and the next couple of weeks you have an association conference, well, think about that elevator speech that you're going to use as you're meeting new people at that conference, because it's going to be very different than meeting someone who could either become a prospective client or is a big referral source. So practice your elevator speech. I've been through a lot of presentation and communication training. And the very best way, if you're preparing, whether it's your elevator speech or any other presentation, is to literally speak the words. You don't have to stand in front of a mirror. Maybe you can, you know, pull your spouse, your significant other, a friend, a colleague in the office, and say, now critique me. And you have to obviously feel comfortable enough with them, but practice your elevator speech so that it doesn't come off sounding canned. I alluded to this a couple of minutes ago, but as you're going through LinkedIn, just take that 5 minutes and say, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at the activities. If your firm has a LinkedIn company page, or if you have one as a small business owner, you can go through and you can like some of the posts that have come directly from your firm. This is maybe a little bit more relevant if you're in a firm of maybe 15 or 20 people where you might have a company profile, but by going to the firm's company page and liking a company update, it automatically appears on your newsfeed and just, again, gets you up in front of people on a more regular and consistent basis. Showing your appreciation to staff. As you all know, you would not probably be as successful as you are today if it weren't for the people who are serving and supporting you on a daily basis. And I think in busy practices, it can be easy to overlook those individuals who are really the mortar between the bricks of how you're serving your clients. So take 5 minutes and go to your assistant, or go to your paralegal, or go to someone who is working with you closely on a day-to-day basis, and just let them know how much you appreciate the work that they do. Yes, money is great, bonuses are great, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than hearing how much somebody appreciates your work. So I encourage you to do that with your staff. Another thing you can do is you can provide a proactive update to one of your clients. Many times professionals will get so busy, they'll think I'm dealing, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, many times there are opportunities that you have to show a client that you are thinking about them. And if you're in the midst of delivering your service to them, why not put a 5-minute email together saying, Dear Christy, I just want to give you a brief update on the status of your matter, your case, what we're working on together. I'm still waiting for this information from you. The next step is going to be this. You get huge points by being proactive with your clients. And I always tell my clients that you never, ever want a client to call you and say, what's going on with the work you're doing for me? Where are we on this? To me, that's kind of a failure in delivering service. So to the extent that you can ever provide a proactive client status update, it will get you very, very far with your clients and in their desire to want to refer others to you as well. Now, I should have switched this. It says take a lawyer to lunch. But the point here is go to lunch with somebody in your firm, whether it's a lawyer, a financial advisor, another consultant. Take the time to say, gee, I'd really like to learn more about what you're doing. Obviously, if you're in a business that has 2 or 3 people, you might want to look at taking one of your referral sources to lunch. But the goal here is to stay connected at a very personal level and to be the proactive person who says, hey, let's go grab lunch. You know, we eat at our desk all the time. Let's just run downstairs and grab something to eat, and take that opportunity to learn more about that person. Ask them questions. Hear their story. How did they get to be in the place that they are today? If there's someone younger or junior to you, then you can, and this is another, I'm going to cover this in a minute, but being a mentor to them, offering to help and assist and support them. It's just about reaching out to people that you work with on a regular basis to learn a little bit more about them. Okay, another 5-minute opportunity that you have here is to call and schedule. Now, obviously, this is going to take a bit of time to actually do the visit, but think about someone that you could go out and visit and meet with them, tell them that you want to see their business, you want to meet the people that are on their management team, whatever it is, you're initiating a meeting at their place of business, even if it's a little bit inconvenient for you, so that you can, again, build those relationships. There's nothing better than a one-on-one connection with somebody, sitting down, you're showing interest in them, and if you are an hourly biller, as in a consultant or a lawyer, make sure they know that this is not something that you're billing them for. This is just part of what you like to do with your clients, so that you better understand the world they live in, and so that you can actually see them in action. This is always a good one. I know it says send us. Review your biography. This is one thing that there are a couple of reasons this is so important. Number one, biographies on websites are the single most visited pages. So when you have a bio on your firm's website, know that that is what people are seeking out when they go to your firm's website, predominantly. Yes, they'll stop on other pages to get there, but by and large, when we do website analytics and statistics for our clients, the top most visited sites are all individual lawyers. What's also interesting is if people have been out there posting on a regular basis, you can also see through analytics how often they actually clicked through and went to your biography as a result. So what that means is don't let your biography become stagnant or stale. In fact, you should become kind of focused on, boy, I just did a presentation, or I just had an article published, and make sure that you get that information to the person who can add that to your biography, because it does make a difference, and you always want to be adding new information to your website. But on that note, it isn't just your web biography. You need to add those things to your LinkedIn profile, or if you're an attorney, to Super Lawyers or Avvo. Make sure that you're keeping that bio current, because that's what people are looking at when they're considering whether or not to call you based on that great referral they got of you. Researching, this is something else, and I've talked about this in other webinars, but it's so important that you have a well-balanced practice. And you may or may not be serving on a nonprofit board right now, but take that 5 minutes, and in the materials that we send you as a PDF that allows you to identify and research some of the nonprofit organizations out there. So obviously being involved in a nonprofit is going to take a lot more time than 5 minutes, but you know what? It's always taking that first step that's the hardest. So if you take 5 minutes and you research a nonprofit that you're really interested in or you've heard about, it's a great way to spend 5 minutes. You may decide that, wow, this is something I am really interested in, and take the next level. Call and schedule a meeting with the executive director to talk about volunteer opportunities. Remember, the bigger the board, the more you have to have the experience having served on boards. So you can't just call the United Way or UNICEF and say, gee, I'd like to serve on your board. You know, there's a process. The smaller the board, however, they're looking for bright, talented professionals who are committed to the vision and the mission that they have as an organization. So take that 5 minutes and research a nonprofit board that you might be interested in serving on. Another thing you can do is you can call a client that you've recently completed a transaction for, and if you have a transactional type business, call them, get their feedback on how things went. They'll be very, very impressed that you cared enough to call them and say, now, I feel like this transaction or our relationship went very smoothly. How did you feel? Was there anything that I could have done? Having a call like that makes all the difference in the world. And you won't like this, but especially if there was some little frustration that they had, well, it's much better to hear about that and address that in a live telephone conversation than to realize that if they had that experience that was a little bit not satisfying for them, they're probably not going to refer you. So finding someone that you can call and just say, gosh, how do you think it went? What advice do you have for me? Gets you great, great points with clients and referral sources. Now, this is primarily for the lawyers that we have on our call, and we have quite a few of them. One of the things that you want to do is make sure that you're not leaving money on the table. For those of you who bill by the hour, this is one of the dreaded things that you have to do every day. But don't leave money on the table by not billing your time. I have heard stories of people going back and trying to reconstruct their billings a month, 2 months, a quarter, even half a year. And I just think there's no way that you can recall. And for people who do bill by the hour, like lawyers, like consultants, if you don't bill your time on a daily basis, you're losing money. So, and that's something that you can do. Yes, it might take a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but the key here is to make that more of a habit for you. Okay, hopefully I haven't overwhelmed you yet. We're halfway through, so this is great. The next thing that you can do in 5 minutes is you can thank a referral source. Whenever you receive a referral, that should be an automatic. You send them a handwritten personal note saying, I really appreciate your confidence in me, and then maybe you take it to the next level and see if they're available for coffee. And it doesn't have to be someone that just referred a client to you. It can be someone who's referred you business in the past. Haven't you ever just gotten something out of the blue that says, wow, I just really want to thank you for being such a supporter of my practice and my business, and I really appreciate what you're doing, and I hope you won't hesitate to let me know if there's anything I can do for you. So there are a lot of ways that you can implement this thank a referral source, but it's something that's going to be on this 2-page handout for you. And of course, because I'm a person who likes to check things off of lists, I made little check boxes. So if you take the handout that we have and you just look down and say 5 minutes, I'm doing this, and you check it off and you do these 40 things over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, your practice will change significantly. You will start to see the results of weaving marketing through the fabric of your practice. Back to the 40 ideas. The next thing you can do is you can create a rough outline. Now what this means is think of a topic that you have a higher level of knowledge in and the audience that would be very interested in hearing what you have to say. Create a rough outline, because what you're doing is you're saying, I have this expertise that is unique and different. Yes, there might be some people who have this expertise. For example, a financial advisor who focuses on complex deferred stock option planning expertise, or a lawyer who focuses on a very specific part of intellectual property within an industry. Whatever it is that you feel you have a higher level of expertise in, just create the rough outline, because some of the things that you're going to be able to do with that outline are, you could write an article that could be pitched to a publication that would be read by your clients. You could turn that outline into a presentation. You could do a webinar like we're doing our webinars, but you could turn that outline into a presentation. You could also write a blog post. If you're not blogging yet, it's a great thing to do, especially if you enjoy writing and it's not a difficult, challenging, protracted process for you. You can write a blog post, or one really cool thing you can also do is you can self-publish your content on LinkedIn. I've done that with a couple of articles, and it's amazing because there are 1,000 or more people who are following it or who have read that content. So if you have an idea for something that would be of interest to people that you know isn't just run-of-the-mill information, just start by creating an outline. Again, we're looking at the first steps you can take that will lead to success in marketing. I already talked about how important it is to bill your time on a daily basis, but remember when you're doing so that your time entries, if you're billing by the hour, are marketing tools. You don't want to say, I mean, take that extra 5 minutes and put a little bit of beef into those time entries by talking about not just drafted email in regard to the whatever matter. Give the client a little bit more so that when they see that invoice that has all of those billable details, they feel like they're getting value from you versus internal conference with Joe. Well, a client's going to look at that and say, what am I paying for? I'm paying Joe for an hour and I'm paying Terry for an hour. What is this about? And so the more detail that you put into your time entries, the more value your clients see. So take that 5 minutes and think about beefing up the way in which you're selling the value of your work in the form of your invoices. Check your efficiency. Truly look at what this has to do with delegation. So if you're working on something that somebody in your office can take 2 or 3 steps forward for you so that you can work on 5 or 10 other things, make sure that you do that. The more senior you become in your career, the more strategic you become. But it's also easy. It's also easy to say, well, you know, I've done this before, and what I would have to do to train somebody on how to do this is just not worth my time. So senior people, whether you're a financial advisor, a lawyer, a consultant, or any other professional, think about your efficiency. Think about what you're doing on a daily basis and ask yourself, is there someone in my office who could move this forward for me? And then take the action, and as I like to tell my clients, delegate, delegate, delegate. It's only going to make you more effective. Plus, clients don't want to see that you're doing work that really could be done by someone at a more efficient level. Obviously, if you have fixed fee billings, you'll have to take this all with a grain of sand, but you get what I'm talking about. You want to have the person who has the best and highest expertise work on whatever it is, and chances are that someone, in a lot of cases, is someone who supports you within your organization. Another thing that you can do is that you can research a prospective client. Many times I've found that professionals will sort of go off the cuff. They'll basically say, you know, what can you check, Christy, are we still on? Okay, because I lost my dashboard. Sorry. So basically researching a prospective client is really all about saying, gee, I'm going to do a Google search on them. I'm going to set them up on Google Analytics. I'm going to research them so that when I do have the opportunity to sit down and meet with them, I'm going to be able to ask really brilliant questions. And you can get that process started in 5 minutes, no problem. So think about researching a prospective client as something that you can do if you have that 5 minutes. You might even want to talk to a couple of other individuals in your office who can say, you know, gosh, I'd like to get in on that with you. Okay, moving on to some of the final ideas that we have here. Get back to basics. So what does this mean? It means take that 5 minutes and really reflect on the success that you've had to date. If you found yourself with no clients, heaven forbid you wake up tomorrow morning, what would you do first? Chances are it's not the big, high-end, glitzy, glossy. You know, this is about how can I get back to the basics. I don't have to think about something that nobody else has done. You need to think about what has led to your success to date, and what would you do first, and revisit some of those marketing behaviors that have led to your success. You can also create some questions. A lot of professionals, some either love it or some don't love it at all. But if you find yourself in a position where you're going to be in a networking meeting, you want to make sure that you have some good questions to ask people that you encounter. Hopefully, what do you do is not going to be one of them. So think about questions that you can ask in an upcoming networking meeting that's on your calendar to say, you know, well, how are you connected with this organization? Or how long have you been a member? Well, do you serve on any committees? There are a lot of different questions that you can ask that open the door to further conversation. And then hopefully You can think of a creative way of asking them what they do, and you can hear their elevator speech. And then I'm sure they're going to ask you the same question. Well, how do you spend your time each day? And so think about questions you can ask in a networking meeting so that you never feel like you don't know what it is you're going to say. Also, I alluded to this earlier, but you can set up Google Alerts. If you go to google.com/alerts, you can set up keywords that you would like to be notified of when those keywords appear on Google. You can put the name of that prospective client that you're about to meet with. Then you can schedule it so that once a week you get a weekly update, or you can choose a daily update, and you will see everything on the internet that's presented to you on a silver platter about that client, that has that client's name in the headline or in the body of whatever it is online. So take 5 minutes and set up some Google alerts. Make sure that you put your name in there too, because it's nice to see if you're appearing somewhere online where it is. Sometimes you'll see the success of maybe an article that was published that you didn't know was published yet by having your name set up on Google as a Google alert. Another thing you can do is think of a referral source that has a similar target audience as yours, and think about what you could do to joint market with them, to potentially deliver a webinar or a live seminar. It's wonderful when you have similar bases of clients, because you can cross-pollinate, for lack of a better term, your client base. So if two people are presenting to a group of the attorney's clients and the CPA's clients or the banker's customers, well, you've brought that area where you can influence other people to a much, much higher level. So think about the referral sources you have, and if there's a way that you might want to pull off a joint marketing program with one of them. Next, develop a story pitch. Remember, before we were talking about the outline and making sure that you have an outline that you can develop a blog post, or in this case, a story pitch. And the big magic behind pitching a story to a publication that's read by your clients is that you're, again, covering something that is not just knowledge that everyone has. It's something that's a little unique twist. So take that outline and really turn it into a story pitch, and in your 5 minutes, identify what publication would be interested in this type of an article, and go to their website. What's their process for submitting an article? Who's the editor? How do I do this? You can do that in 5 minutes, and then you'll see how easy it is, and you'll be motivated to take the next step and actually pursue this and write the article and have that publication cover it. Another thing you can do is think about those messages. Usually clients are not going to sit down, or prospective clients, and say, why should I hire you? But what's important for your elevator speech and for your marketing in general is for you to know and understand why clients hire you. So think about what your response would be if a prospective client actually said, gee, I'm talking to 3 or 4 people, why should I hire you? Those are good. It's a good process to go through, because it allows you to think proactively about what makes you unique, the value you bring to your clients, and what really differentiates you. You can always spend 5 minutes updating your contacts, whether you use Outlook or have a different type of contact management system or marketing database. If you have a stack of business cards, which I'm guilty of, I have a stack that's maybe 3 inches tall right now, that I need to get into our contact database. But updating your contacts is something that usually gets pushed off to the side. So take your 5 minutes and take some action and pull those cards together and ask someone to help you get those individuals into your contact management system, or even into Outlook if that's what you use. You can also focus on your niche. You can think about, if you don't have a niche right now, or you feel like you're a little bit sporadic and you're delivering services in a lot of different areas, take 5 minutes and think about, what do I do best? What do I want to become known for? And try to gather I don't know, you want to be able to tell a client that you do a lot of things, but this is one area that you have more experience on than most of the other areas. So if you have 5 minutes, really focus on what you do best so that you can start communicating that in a more proactive way to your clients. You can also, clients love to see that you've done what they need, and it's pretty easy to create a case study or a summary. I know financial advisors can't do this, but for all the rest of you who can, think about, what was the client situation, what was your creative approach to working with them, and then what was the result? because the more that you can show clients that you've done what they need, the easier your marketing efforts are, because they can go onto your biography or onto your website and they can see, wow, look at all this experience that this person has in this area. It really helps move the marketing process along to the point where they will see these case studies and say, boy, this person seems to be exactly who we want to meet with. So it really softens the market for them when they come in to meet with you. You can also target a client. You can pick an individual or a company that you would like to have as a client. You can go online, do a quick search for them, look at their social media activities. It goes back to the research idea. Create a little mini dossier on the clients that you want to attract. And then when you have 5 minutes on a different day, add to that dossier. We talked a little bit about this, that take that 5 minutes and start a blog post. If you're a prolific writer, you could probably create the format for a blog post in 5 minutes. Because what you're looking at is okay, first of all, you identify the topic and who it affects. And what do people really need to know about this? And you come up with a short paragraph on those 2 or 3 key points that people need to know. Then you add an in conclusion and the action that that person is supposed to take. So I'm confident that in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, if you really know what it is you want to convey, you can start and draft a very, very effective blog post in that period of time. I love this one because, again, it goes back to clients want to know that you know and understand their world. So consider reading a publication that is of interest to your clients. Read one of their trade publications. Through that process, you're also going to say, wow, I think my client might be interested in this. So a lot of these ideas feed off of one another. But the point here is not just to look at your reading pile, this overwhelming reading pile of magazines and periodicals, et cetera, that you want to get through, but to actually spend 5 minutes just picking one up and paging through it. And it will further your knowledge of your client, but it will also give you some fodder to maybe post something on LinkedIn or reach out to your client with that message about, I found something that you might be interested in. Handwritten notes are by far and away the way in which people resonate. If you're going to thank them, if you're going to reach out to someone on a personal basis, think about sending a handwritten personal note versus an email. If you really don't have time to do the personal handwritten note, I think the next best thing is to call them so they can hear the sincerity in your voice. If you have to leave them a voicemail, it's nicer to hear the person's voice directly, but thank people. And there's always someone that you can thank. It doesn't have to be someone who just did something nice for you, as we talked about before. It's nice to thank people just out of the blue about how much you appreciate their support of you and your practice. You can also be a mentor. Being a mentor is a very strong, powerful way for you to help motivate, train, and educate the people who are coming up beneath you, the people who are going to support you in your retirement, because they're going to become the revenue generators and producers of the future. Many professionals get so busy with their own careers that they don't remember to reach back. So the concept is maybe the person that you asked to have lunch with you that day is someone junior to you, and you proactively say, let's go to lunch. I want to hear how your experience is. How can I help you? How can I be a better mentor to you? So think about that in your 5 minutes. And then finally, it's always great to be able to brainstorm new business ideas with your colleagues. So if you've got 5 minutes, walk down the hall or call one of those referral sources and say, I've been thinking it would be a great idea for us to think about something we could do together to develop business, a win-win for both of us. And you pick a time to have coffee. You've just spent 5 very, very valuable minutes. So now if you're all still here and I haven't lost you, I'd like to open it up. We have a couple of minutes left on the webinar for any questions that you might have. So Christy, do we have any questions? If not, feel free to, I know this was a lot. It was a lot to take in 40 minutes. But
we had someone request the name of the book.
Oh, the name of the book was called Eat That Frog. And it has a little green frog on the cover. And if you go to Amazon and type Eat That Frog, you will find the book. I don't recall offhand. I'm trying to look to see if I have it here in my office. Brian something or other is the author. But so yes, it's called Eat That Frog. Any other questions? If not, there's one more question.
They want to know if they can get a copy of the webinar and also the name of the pipeline tool.
Not only will I give you the name of the pipeline tool and the access to the webinar, first of all, this is a recorded webinar, so we're putting this on our website, and the link to the webinar will be included in our follow-up email to you that you will get in a couple of hours. But when you get the evaluation, either directly after the webinar or in the follow-up email, you can request the sales pipeline tool, and we will send that Excel document to you as a gift from us to you.
There's another question, Terry, for you about what is your opinion about marketing in your email signature? Should you do it? And if so, should you put links to your social media, etc.?
One of the biggest, that's an excellent question about integrated marketing. And my response is that everything you do should support and promote and communicate everything else that you're doing. You need to have a very professional signature block. If you're with a firm, you need to make sure that you're following their method for signature blocks. However, if you have the ability, yes, you should include your LinkedIn profile. You should include, like we do in our signature blocks for a couple of months before our webinars, we have a section at the end of our signature block where we say, if you're interested, sign up for 40 marketing ideas in 5 minutes. Or, you know, we do some marketing in our signature block. We don't go overboard, but we definitely want to make it easy for people to get to our website. And then when they get to our website, we want to make it easy for them to get to all of our social media activities. So I say absolutely put as much as you can in your AVO profile if you're an attorney, or anything else that you feel really differentiates you. It's part of making it easy for people to connect with you. And on that note, I really encourage people to also use their signature block when they're replying to emails, because it's frustrating for me personally when I get an email from someone and maybe they're in a reply mode, but there is nowhere on their whole email when I scroll down that I can actually find out what their telephone number is so that I can give them a call. So I really encourage you, and you might think, well, no, that makes the email string too long. I really encourage you to put your signature block both on your replies as well as the new emails you send. Little unsolicited advice there. Anything else? Well, I really want to thank all of you for taking your time today. Please do stay on the webinar so that you'll have access to the evaluation. And we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar in a couple of months. The infamous, famous Christy Gusick is going to be talking about ways in which you can leverage and maximize your content to build your name recognition on social media. So we hope that you'll be able to join us, and we thank you once again for your time and attention and your great questions. Have a wonderful day.